You're going. Nobody's leaving. Nobody's walking out on this fun old-fashioned family Christmas. No, we're all in this together. This is a full-blown 4-alarm holiday emergency here. We're going to press on, and we're going to have the happiest Christmas since Bing Crosby tap danced with Danny fucking Kaye. And when Santa squeezes his fat white ass down that chimney tonight, he's going to find the jolliest bunch of assholes this side of the nut house.
You woke? Time to get up. Thought You Were Woke, No Speed Limit Podcast. I'm your host, Alvin. I hope you guys are having a terrific day. Remember to smash that like button and subscribe if you have not subscribed, because today I'm sure you're going to love the show. And then once you watch the show and listen to the show, share it with others. What we're going to do basically today is talk about our wonderful, greatest holiday that comes out every year, and that's Christmas. So, a lot of us suffer from Christmas anxiety, all for the wrong reasons, and I'm going to tell you why. We put so much emphasis on Christmas as a holiday. You turn on TV, you get to watch the great movies with Macaulay Culkin, Home Alone. You get to see Christmas Vacation, A Christmas Carol, the Grinch That Stole Christmas. Often, when I see the Grinch reminds me of everything that's really wrong with Christmas in so many ways, because a lot of people end up becoming the Grinch. Just like A Christmas Carol reminds me of the politics of Christmas as well. So, Christmas is wrapped up in a lot of things, and it becomes this holiday a lot of people have started to hate. And the reason why is because of religion, because of politics, because of family matters, because of all the stress around the retail shopping. And I just decided, let's talk about all of it. Why not just throw it out on the table and let's start, from part one. Now, Christmas, basically, our understanding of Christmas is that it is a celebration of the birth of Jesus Christ. That is my understanding. That is the basic understanding of the Christmas holiday. For some people, it's like, well, Christmas ain't about that. It's not about that at all. It's about the celebration of Jesus Christ, this man that was born somewhere in Bethlehem. According to the Gospel of Luke and Matthew, Jesus, a descendant of the King of David, was born in Bethlehem. Jesus' birth in Bethlehem, hometown of King David himself, would symbolize the birth of a new king, a promise by the prophets in the Old Testament. His birth would lead to the salvation of all men. Now, what's unique about that is this. Instead of doing it like David did, who became a conqueror, a man who fought in many battles and wars, this salvation would not come through conquest of the Romans or other enemies of the Jewish people, but by the self-sacrificing death of Jesus Christ on the cross, some 30 years after his birth. What is unique about Jesus Christ? There's a man willing to give his life freely, sacrifice his life for his brethren, so that his message may be taught to the world about peace and love, to show you what love really is. This is who Jesus Christ is. And that's the simplest thing. I decided to go ahead and just put that out there up front before we get into all the other stuff. Because once we start there, we understand also what's wrong with everything else. So, I'm not here to preach against Christmas trees or any of those things. In fact, I totally agree with you. Put up your Christmas trees. Get your gifts under your trees. Have dinner with your family. There are literally pastors sending out confusing and mixed messages, telling you about what the traditions are versus what Jesus is all about, and all these other things about Santa Claus and all those things. We'll get into Santa Claus in a minute. But we also have retail thrown in there. We have the politics of this. We have race thrown into this. All of these things are leading to a mass stress on Christmas. A stress. Literally. Some people are like, forget Christmas. I'm not going to celebrate it at all. I hate Christmas. And part of that is because of the world we're growing up, where money and work have just stressed people to the point of no return. Economically speaking, right now people are stressed out because of inflation. I can't buy eggs. I can't buy milk. The price of my house, I can't buy a new house. I can't get a car for my kids. All these things are stressing people out right now. And that adds to the level of stress. So one thing I've noticed in the world is, as a 50-year-old man in this world, is that things have changed since I was a kid. When I was a kid, I remember hopping in a car with my mom, my grandmother, and my grandfather, and we'd drive around town and go see Christmas lights everywhere. They'd be displayed everywhere. There was even a church a couple of miles from where I lived, where you could just drive up in the church and they had a live nativity scene. There's still a church here where I live now that has a live nativity scene, but there's a lot of people who do not even bother to put up Christmas decorations anymore. They have been stressed out by all the things. Now, we've destroyed the traditions of Christmas. I will say this about Christmas up front. There is no place in the Bible that tells us that we have to celebrate Christmas. We only hear about the mention of who Jesus Christ is. Jesus was apparently born around about 2 AD, which is 2 years after the birth of Christ. That's what they normally say AD stands for. But he was born in 2 AD. He was born somewhere. We don't know what time of year. Some believe it was in December or around winter time. Some people believe he was born in the spring. They give different reasons for that. They said that the animals were in the pasture. If they're and then others say, well, if they're in the manger, it must be December. The animals were in the pasture because the shepherds were in the pasture with the animals, so it must have been around spring or summertime. So there's a lot of controversy over that. Well, so then some people will throw that up in there. Hey, well, why are we celebrating this on December 25th? I mean, why are we celebrating this when we are? Because we don't really know the actual date of Jesus Christ, but we just give a day for his birth, and we, as religious people, have decided to create this as a day of holiday to celebrate his birth, because his birth is so impactful to the Christian community. Now, I'm trying to simplify that because of all the noise that surrounds Christmas. Then comes this whole idea of Santa Claus. Santa Claus, a man who was once named Saint Nicholas, a bishop in the Roman Catholic Church in the 13th century, who lived in Turkey. That's right, Turkey. And he didn't live in Constantinople, which is the European part of Turkey. He lived in Turkey in Asia. So he's an Asian man who lived in the Roman Empire at the time. And he was known for giving gifts to children and gifts to people who were poor, because he took care of the poor as a bishop. He was considered a pious man, a very religious man. And sometimes that's forgotten when we bring up the tradition of Santa Claus, because here's this guy that we've created from St. Nicholas who, or should I, spoiler alert to the kids, created from this guy, St. Nicholas, who's developed from St. Nicholas, because St. Nicholas originally was a religious man. He was a man who believed in Jesus Christ. He believed in the spirit of giving that Jesus believed in, because Jesus believed in giving. Jesus said in the Bible, literally in one scripture, he says, give the shirt off of your back if your fellow man is naked. That's how giving Jesus was. So, that being said, that's what St. Nicholas was. This was the original man. Now, of course, the Europeans have developed, Kris Kringle, Santa Claus, St. Nick, all the different names that they call this guy. He's a gift-giving guy who gives kids gifts. He drives around in a sleigh with reindeer. And here comes that other thing I'm finna throw in here. That's why politics and race plays in. This is a jolly fat white guy from Europe who's in the snow. Because snow, even though snow happens in Africa, it's not common in the northern part of Africa where Christianity is. If you think about Egypt, if you think about Egypt and places like that, that's not a common thing in those parts. Israel, yeah, they have snowy parts of the year because they're a little bit more into that climate. but it gets cold there in the desert. It's a little different. But at the same time, most of the traditions in the Christmas holiday come from Roman or European side. So then here comes the other people's like, that's a Roman, that's a white holiday. We don't want to celebrate it because it's a white holiday. And again, we're forgetting about excuse me, the real reason we should be celebrating this is Jesus Christ. So we forget about those things. We throw those out the window. We say, oh, we're not going to celebrate that because of that. I think the one thing that has really tainted Christmas is the spirit of gift giving and how retail and money has gotten into it. To be honest with you, even though racism, like I said, is a problem, because we're still fighting over whether Jesus is black, brown, or European. We're still fighting over that, even though that has nothing to do with the meaning of Jesus Christ or whether Jesus Christ is for white people, black people, or anybody, because Jesus Christ was a man who sat down with Jewish people because he was Jewish, who talked to Romans, he talked to Samaritans and other people of other ethnic groups without any cause or any harm. In the Bible, he didn't have any malice towards them or anything like that. He was a person who, he said, he came for all men. He didn't come just for the Jews, even though he was Jewish, and in the end, the people that were there were Jewish for the most part. He didn't just come for the Jews, he came for all men. He became the salvation for all men. We kind of get caught up into the whole concept of what color is Jesus, and even I have done it, and I do it from time to time because, I just find it interesting to know more about Jesus. What ethnicity was, what language did he speak, those things. And then I realized that sometimes it gets us away from the message that Jesus Christ was talking about. Now I'm getting back to where I was talking about. So Christmas, what throws off Christmas even more? Retail. Black Friday. You guys all know Black Friday because, they had them TVs. They had them 50-inch TVs for $200. Those 60 and 70-inch TVs for less than $400. And they sell them on Black Friday. So people are running to the retail store. They go up there and they purposely have limited quantities of these things. One of the most famous battles in the store was over the Cabbage Patch doll back in the 80s. And most people here were like, Cabbage Patch doll? Yeah. If you're younger than a millennial, you would know nothing about the Cabbage Patch doll. But the Cabbage Patch doll was a very popular item back in the day that every kid wanted. And Black Friday became synonymous with this. They were rushing to the store the day after Thanksgiving. People were knocking each other over to get this item. There were screams and yells about how limited quantities. People were fighting literally over Cabbage Patch dolls. There's even one famous video where a woman and another woman tear a Cabbage Patch doll in half, trying to get the Cabbage Patch doll. That's how desperate they were to get Cabbage Patch dolls. And then just recent history, a couple of years ago, I remember a young man here ended up getting killed by the police because there was a shooting in the mall during Black Friday. And it happens all over Walmart. They've been famous for their Black Friday sales. The lines, they have police taped off in the store. They have police with rifles in the store over people getting items. So then comes that stressed out behavior of retail where we turn this into a retail thing where we're worshiping items, basically. To me, it's like we're worshiping the idols. We've forgotten about the basics. So what is Christmas really to me? What is the basic thing? Like I said, it's about Jesus Christ for me because I'm a Christian. Now, if you're a non-Christian, it should be about family, about spending time with family, about giving back to your community, to the poor people, to the sick, to the shut-in. It should be about those things more so than about retail, about giving gifts, because wrapping gifts and giving gifts can cause burnout. All of that causes burnout. You get stressed over stuff like, I got to do it. We get caught up in the tradition, and that's another thing I want to talk about, because we have people who get caught up in the traditions who are so mad because, well, we got all these people not celebrating Christmas, and they're not doing this. They're not. It's a tradition. Traditions change. People change. The world has changed. That does not mean that we don't believe in Jesus Christ or we're pushing Jesus Christ to the side. It's just people change. Some people don't believe in Jesus Christ. Some people are saying happy holidays. Some people say Merry Christmas. I don't care which one you say to me. It's the idea that you said it to me that matters the most. You see what I'm saying? Then, like I said, we have pastors in the church who are screaming and yelling about, you need to know about the paganism. You can't the reason for the season is Jesus. Forget Santa Claus. Don't tell your kids about Santa Claus. Now we remember Santa Claus was a holy man of God, but that's kind of been rubbed to the side because of again retail. We get caught up in the movies, watching the movies, and all those things. So the simple things kind of go away, but at the same time, we're spending time with family. Some people put their jammies on, they sit there and they watch the movies. They have breakfast together, they have dinner together. I know I go over to family house, one family, pastor's family, we get together for breakfast. And, sometimes we go over to my aunt's house for dinner or somebody else's house for dinner. We have dinner here at our own house, our own time to sit down, relax, and talk to each other and just love on each other. Christmas is stressful for some people for other reasons because I have lost family. My wife has lost family. We recently had a death in the family, actually 2 deaths in the family. The one thing that's so important is the loved ones that are alive and that are with you. They are so important to you that, just being together and loving is good. Because sometimes family is stressful, but just being with family is so important, so necessary, so much. I'm trying to find the right words to say for this. So much of a need. If you are at this time stressed out at Christmas time, there are some things you can do to help yourself. For one is take a deep breath. 2 is pray if you're a Christian person. Another one is to seek counseling. The last thing you can possibly do is de-stress. Just use the time to de-stress and get away from all sorts of things. Now, if you're one of these people that you feel like you just can't handle it and too much is going on, you feel lonely, you feel sad, you can call 988 and there will be someone you can talk to there who will help you through the process and get you to the proper help. So those things are available to you as well. But let Christmas be about love, regardless of whether you believe in Jesus Christ or not. Let Christmas be about love in your heart. Because like I said, there's a lot of confusion out there. There's pastors who talk about, don't do this, don't do that. You got pastors who talk about, there's a war against Christmas when there's not really a war against Christmas. It's just the world that we live in is changing. It's so retail and so corporate oriented that sometimes we forget that love is more important than money. Take the money out of it. Just take and leave the love behind. No matter what. If you don't give a gift, just give the gift of you to other people. People you don't normally talk to. I got friends out there I need to. I'm going to mention a friend's name here. I hope he doesn't get mad. Greg, love you, bro. I know you out there. You probably listen to the show more than other people. Merry Christmas to you and your family. Just give that time back. Give that love back to your family. Give that love back to the people in your life. Let that matter the most to you. Again, if you're believing in Christ, let me tell you about this part. About Jesus. Jesus was a loving man. He gave his life for everyone. The gift he gave to the world was his death led to our salvation. That is the gift he gave to the world. Remember, the gift that you can give is always of yourself. The self-sacrificing God is the same person he wants you to be. He wants you to be loving towards your neighbor, towards your friends. We live in a world today where we have so many wars, so many conflicts. Where can we learn to be self-sacrificing and loving to each other and find a way to live with each other in a space that is what God wants us to be in? Well, folks, I'm all out of time. I hope you enjoyed today's show. Remember again to leave a comment, to like, share, and subscribe. Peace.
You have been listening to Thought You Were Woke No Speed Limit Podcast.